There we are, and here for another episode of TigerBait Live. Buddy Songy in the house. Lots to discuss. LSU baseball, Ole Miss this coming weekend. Kramer Robertson called up the St. Louis Cardinals yesterday. That had a lot of buzz. Mulkey, Ben McDonald, of course, working for the Orioles organization, and Paul Maneri making the trip up there to see Kramer play for the Cardinals. And football recruiting, Dante Moore, polling in Detroit in the last 24 hours. Got a little bit of tidbits on that. We're going to get to a lot of questions tonight. Anything you guys want to discuss, football recruiting, basketball recruiting, baseball, Tiger football. I still think everybody's, even though with everything going on, spring football now 2 weeks over, people still want to talk about football. So we can certainly do that. But welcome in, buddy.
Good to see you, Mr. Michael Scarborough, and everybody out there on this Wednesday. Boy, the heat is here. The stock market is plunging, and everybody, even though you color your hair, it continues to turn gray. Really, really bad karma with the market. But really, as far as LSU sports, Mike, I think 4 or 5 big topics. Is LSU going to make a regional? That's what people are talking about. They have put themselves in a really nice situation if they take care of business the last 2 weekends and hosting Ole Miss this weekend, 2 of the 3 on regular TV. Will Adam Miller come back to LSU or go to TCU? I think we find that out on Friday. I'll get your comments about that. Obviously, you and I can't go anywhere, even for a couple, 3, 4 days, without people saying, hey, how is this quarterback thing going to work? Because it's one thing to have 2 or 3, but to have 4 in the mix is going to be challenging but exciting to follow, and we'll be right there for you every step of the way. And obviously, you look at the basketball, and how many times do we say, wait till next year? Well, wait till next year, folks. Kim Mulkey has done an incredible job, and this is going to be a show. I'm calling it right now. Flau'jae Johnson and all the stars and personalities that you've got coming over here, and then if they can get that kid from North Louisiana that you've spent more time on any high school recruit ever to come, you're going to be seeing LSU women's catapult. I'll say right now, they'll be preseason top 10.
Well, it's just
all that.
What's the girl from Ohio State they signed a week or 2 ago?
Yeah.
I mean, that girl comes down here. They eliminate LSU in the tournament, but she saw what was happening in the PMAC, all the hubbub about Kim Mulkey. They were here, for 4 or 5 days? And so she's like, I'm going to get in the portal because I want to be a part of that, even though they eliminated LSU. And she was good. She was one of the ones where I was sitting press row where I was just like, they don't have an answer for her. They were suffocating defensively on LSU. And
I apologize because I've been spending more time with football and other stuff.
Yeah,
but the men have done a great job. KJ Williams is a big get, OVC Player of the Year, Matt McMahon. And what I was trying to say is that you hear it all the time from media and fans. Well, wait till next year. Well, seriously, next year LSU will be appreciably better, both women's and men's basketball. And obviously, as we get ready to go spend our money, the Louisiana money, can you imagine the trillions of dollars that have been spent in Florida, in the Panhandle, Pensacola, all 30A, everywhere. It's unbelievable. And this is what the fans are going to do, Mike. They're going to be salivating on that hot beach this summer. And they don't want Tennessee to come up and kick sand up on that purple and gold beach towel. And every Vol fan that I've talked to, they are cocky, man. I'm talking about what Tony Vitello is doing in baseball, and they think they're going to come in here in Tiger Stadium this year and kick LSU's
I don't know
butt.
I don't know what to make of Tennessee.
I don't either.
Whether to buy in or history would tell you not to buy in, because every time you think they're about ready to turn the corner, they make a nosedive.
And you heard the big news in A&M. Jimbo Fisher has gotten a new binder for his offensive play calling. He said if it was good enough for the Prince and Ed Ogeron, it's good enough for me.
Oh, you're stepping in it.
You know this is going to happen. A&M is going to be preseason, 5 or 6 in football. And so we'll get all of that. I got notes from the spring game, rewatched it again. But what a great anticipation of what's coming. I know we said that it'd be getting better, but I do think we're going back up the right way with LSU athletics, don't you?
Yeah, I do. And, of course, we're brought to you by Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. They're our title sponsor each and every week, and we couldn't do it without Mike Faraday and Alex Martinez over there. And we're going to talk about them a little bit more in the show. But as always, they're going to continue to running that special with call them at 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait, and they're going to pay for you to have free TigerBait Premium for a year. And so we'll talk about them a little bit more later in the show. Please hit the like button. Please share this to your social media, your Facebook groups, your own personal Facebook. Get the word out. And if you're enjoying the show and you're watching us on YouTube or on Facebook, please hit the like button. And I still have a lot of people who tune in every week. I can see in the analytics they watch us on YouTube every week, but they don't hit the subscription button. So please hit the subscription button, notification bell. You'll get alerted live, and every time we load up a new interview. And I'm already jotting out plans. Our YouTube channel is we've got big plans coming starting in August. So for football season. So you want to be a part of that. And by the way, if you want to be a part of everything that we've got planned in the fall with your business, let us help you promote it. Shoot me an email, mike@tigerbait.com, and let me help you grow your business.
Yeah, and I got a couple of NIL sponsors tonight. I've got the Under Armour shirt and tennis shoes, and, of course, the Pride Roofing. Can't say enough about Mike and Alex and what they have done, and this is what America was built on. Just wake up and work your butt off, and at the end of the day, feel really good about the job that you did. Look what these guys did. And probably took money out of their pocket to help refurbish Lake Charles after the back-to-back
no doubt
hurricanes. Now they've had the acquisition with Crown Metals, and we want to give a special shout-out. If you're in the Baton Rouge area, you need a guy. I've had 2 or 3 people already jump on this. Call Mike Kirby on his cell phone, and at 275-2041, we'll get you Mike's cell phone number later on in the show. But he is a personal friend of yours and another guy that is just doing
another one I grew up
way.
with. Trey Guy says, "Love the show, guys. You guys are the best." Let me roll through these. There's a bunch of them that got us early on. Don of Cebu is in the Philippines is watching us tonight. Glad to have you with us. All right, I like it. We're getting international here. With only 4 commitments, what is our class going to look like in December? You and I talked about that today. Is there? I don't know if nationally the numbers are down. Are there schools that are where they typically would be this time of year? Certainly 4 in May is small for LSU. Typically by August, mid-August, heading to Labor Day, LSU somewhere in the middle teens, late teens. Might they be there by then? Obviously, they're out hitting the road right now, and I don't know if there's anything to worry about right now. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't really seen where they're out really pushing for commitments right now. In saying that, I do think that there are some kids that have told them that they're coming, but they're not kids that are releasing it publicly. So I think they have a good idea. You're looking at that number, and I bet you they've got an idea of maybe 8, 9, 10 more that they feel darn good, or the kid said, I'm coming. I just want to do it on this date. My mom's birthday's this day. I promised this coach, because he's a friend of my high school coach, I'm going to go visit that school before I announce. There's all kind of stuff like that. So
you remember the classic Bob Dylan, "The times they are a change." And then Mike, you were just sitting there, and we're talking about, well, normally at this date you got 10, and then when we talk about fall camp in August, you got 15. But
well, usually in August they're about 18 or 19.
You can put 2 T's on it, whatever you want to say. But that was before NIL and the transfer portal.
Yeah, you could have 15 right now, 20 in August, but what does that mean in November when the NIL craziness?
That's what I'm saying. A verbal commitment. I tried to get this out to you today. I don't think a verbal commitment is going to be as prevalent moving forward because, number one, in this day and age, and we do not resent this even though we are north of 50, especially me. But that being said, Mike, you're going to negotiate deals all the way till the end. Why would you commit now when you don't even know what your NIL value is going to be?
We saw it last class.
December and February.
We saw it last class where the night before they thought they had guys sewn up, and the next morning it gets all undone. You have to get in there again.
Now, the question is, though, is that going to be 5 of your 25? And is the NCAA going to say 25 plus 7? Which I think everybody I've talked to nationally, they feel like the NCAA realizes the transfer portal has left a lot of teams that are lacking depth. Even Kirby Smart said it. Georgia won the national championship. They're lacking depth because so many guys get in the portal and leave, and you don't fill them right away. And so I'd really like to see the 25-7. But the verbal commitment a year or two ahead now, I think that's history.
But how many years in a row are you going to do 25 plus 7? And do you eventually get to the point where, like, what was it they were proposing a week or two ago, floating the idea of unlimited, but you have to be at 85 in August? I mean,
yeah.
If you're going to have to keep doing a 25 plus number every year, then why don't you just go ahead and make a recruiting class 32?
I think Alabama has been on that same game plan, unlimited.
Yeah.
You know, as I said, folks, the math in Alabama. And oh, by the way, don't you dare, national media, accuse Nick Saban. What does Dale Brown say? When you point your finger, there's 3 coming right back at. But he has not tampered with anybody. Not the receiver at Louisville or the receiver at LSU, Kayshon Boutte. Wait a minute. How did we find out that Kayshon Boutte might go to Alabama? How did we find that out?
Internet.
Okay. And did Gordon McKernan have to come in here and save the damn bell, the board, the team, and the Boutte?
And by the way, there's other people behind the scenes, not just him, that you don't even know about.
But my point is that, was that a prominent rumor?
Oh, yeah, and it was real.
Okay, and it was real, and yet that's – so, look, Coach, you have done an incredible job, and you got 7 rings. But you and Belichick need to go to confession sometimes.
Edward O. Got the Crabs is a YouTube name.
Huh?
Edward O. Got the Crabs.
Oh, okay. All right.
Come on, Pete, do a beat down on the like button. Show Mike and Buddy some love. Come on, let's go. Good to catch you live, says Eric DeLion. Man, I tell you what, the same point last week, about 10 minutes in, my nose started itching.
Well, you know, in the older days, Mike.
That tells me I need to get up here and vacuum.
That would mean one of the female viewers wanted to kiss you.
Yeah.
So, Nurse Court, is that you?
No, Edward O. Got the Crabs. Good to see Buddy. Always good to see Mike. Blaine Smith, can LSU make up ground on Tackett and get him to LSU?
Ask you that question today.
I don't know. Is he coming? Is he going to camp? Is he going to participate in camps? Where all is he going? He's got 28 schools. I don't know.
Well, here's the deal. They did not like the way they were recruited by
Jay
Coach
Nosberry, what's he going to do? I was talking to a Notre Dame guy today. You know?
Jay Nosberry?
Yeah.
Well,
there's going to be some interesting things.
But back to Tackett. Matt House going over there and spending a whole afternoon goes a long way in getting your foot in the door. You established the start of the relationship. Now you're going to hope that what you sell him on coming here, and let's be honest, you got to have a Tackett Curtis sugar daddy.
I want to see Tackett Curtis participate in football camps.
I know that, but if Ohio State and everybody else wants him, there's potential there. But my point is, Mike, you got to start. You got a foot in the door. Now let's see how serious it gets.
Wesley Nettles, what's up with Jaden Yoshida, the 5-star quarterback? Any chance we get him? I know Joe Sloan was in California today, making the rounds. They're going all over. Poling was in Detroit. Dante Moore. And it's still looking like LSU or Notre Dame for Dante Moore. I know Florida and Billy Napier's trying to get in there and make some moves there. And so, but how crazy does the NIL thing get for Dante Moore and guys like him?
Yeah.
Well,
the other
and how do you know if you're even in the realm?
But here's the other thing. You are recruiting a quarterback. Now, look, you can throw the tape in on Ian Book and you say, look what this guy was when we got him and look what he's on the Saints roster. So there's obviously some development there. But when you got a guy like this and you've got Walker Howard and Garrett Nussmeier in front of you, and let's be honest, Miles Brennan and Jaden Daniels aren't long for gone, right? Mm-hmm. Miles is last year, and Daniels, if he plays as well as he wants, he'd love to come and be one and done, although you never know how it's going to play out. My point is that you look at the depth chart, I don't think any of us are giving them enough credit, all those particulars, with keeping those 4 guys invested and on the team. But this is going to be interesting to see if they can get Dante Moore. What happens with the others if one of the others leave? But Mike, it's quarterbacks. What kind of offense is he going to use? And you made a comment about Denbrock. But how can we predict what the offense is going to be when you don't know the $64 million question, who the quarterback will be?
I told my Notre Dame guy, I made a prediction on Buddy's show today that because this is that time of the year, particularly new staff, all new coaches, every assistant coach, every player personnel director, everybody's the greatest of all time across the board right now. And so I made a prediction on Buddy's show that the first assistant coach is going to get the wrath of the fans is going to be Denbrock early in the season because fans are maybe going to say it's too conservative or the run game's not happening or not or abandoning the run too early or vice versa. But I talked to my Notre Dame guy, and we're sharing a lot of recruiting stuff because LSU and Notre Dame are recruiting a lot of the same guys. And he begged to differ with me. He said, no, man, I think you're wrong. He says, when at Notre Dame, people were getting mad because they slung it around too much and didn't run the ball enough. And so, and I know a lot of people get upset when or not upset, but kind of, raising an eyebrow when you're talking about 2 tight end sets, and, and you start having, old throwback Les Miles thoughts running through your head, But the tight ends at Notre Dame have eaten people alive. And he's got a good track record of those tight ends, and that's why you got all the guys that we've been talking about for weeks wanting to come visit LSU. So he differs on me. But, who's usually going to get it first, the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator on post-game talk shows?
Well, I understand 100% where you're going from. But once again, I gave this scenario out. And look, none of us, I don't even think Sister Marie on the airline highway with the palm shop and the crystal ball knows who's going to be the starting quarterback and how it's going to play out. This is an important time right now for bonding and working your tail off. And obviously, Butte and Jeray Jenkins and all that, you're going to be throwing and catching and passing and be together. They talk about bonding, accountability, everybody all in, that kind of stuff. They'll be on that levee, tires and all that hard-ass work that they do. But I don't think we can project what Denbrock and Sloan and Kelly are going to call, because if it's Miles Brennan, you're going to throw the ball down a lot further on the field, more vertical, and a lot more on his arm versus if you got Jaden Daniels, it's going to be more RPO and all. So they don't want to play 2, but I still think that this is not going to be easily that decision is not going to be an easy one. But how can you project what they're going to look like when we don't even know who will get the first chance?
Michael John says, quit parroting a false narrative. Howard, his dad, and everyone have said numerous times that Walker will redshirt. Yes, we have. But I assure you, well, he's going back to early, in the show, talking about 4 quarterbacks battling it out.
Well, we just talked. No, I think everybody realizes that Walker's our
yeah, but that said, Walker is going to battle. That dude ain't backing down from anybody.
I think what he's probably referring to is reps, and I agree with him there. Now, this is whether you like this or not, and we saw this in the spring game. You get limited. Now, there have more players, but in the spring, you're depleted. All those injuries and all the stuff, but he didn't get reps with the 1s and the 2s. He got reps with the 3s. And so I think it's going to be hard for Walker unless he really tears it up early. That's what we're getting at when you have 4 quarterbacks. So even if Walker's not in it, you still got 3 that have to get reps with the 1s and 2s.
Blaine Smith says, how is LSU dropping in the RPI? He says it's ridiculous. Have you dove into that?
That is because a couple of the teams that they had beaten earlier had accrued losses, so they got out of the top 50. And once you go from a different level, in other words, so that hurt the schedule. But look, LSU's in good shape. Take 2 out of 3. And you'd love to say 2 out of 3 of Vandy, but even the 1 out of 3, that's 17 and 13. I don't know too many people that would say 17 or 13 a month ago. Do you?
No, and you look at the SEC standings, and it's one of those deals where like how he's doing it, and you look at it and you're like, man, what more can you ask for? Knowing what he's working with and how he's trying to make it go. You know, you got Tennessee running away with the East, but yeah, I mean LSU being tied for second in the West, and they're going to host. You know, what are they going to do for a super, and then who do they get caught there, and you know, is that probably the end of the road? But it depends on who you draw and how.
And this pitching, Mike, I think the thing that we have seen in front of our eyes, and this is a great message and lesson, is do you pull a guy or do you stay with him? Now, they know what's up in his noggin, but everybody around here wanted Blake Money to be taken out the weekend rotation. He didn't get anybody out the last time he started in the SEC. He got an inning and 2/3 last night. And you hope that you get his confidence back and all that. Mikhail Hilliard is a Friday night starter, but generally, no disrespect to that young man who hadn't lost in ages, but he's the kind of guy you'd throw on Saturday or Sunday. In other words, he wasn't that fireball and ace. And then on the third day, they've been starting freshmen backed up by another freshman, Mike. To see those guys, and then you got Jordan Thompson. Everybody wanted to wring his neck because of the errors. And so this is a coach that stuck with his players despite all the criticism, and it's turning out that
I'm sure he's got stories to tell.
But I'm just saying,
years from now, and he's telling the story of this year, I'm sure he's got some stories. He's going to have some you know, he's probably going to say, you know, that weekend over there, I almost lost the team. You know, I had to get, you know, I mean, we've heard a little bit of it. But
this is part of coaching.
Yeah.
And you know what? The same thing is going to happen with the quarterback. If you start Miles and he stinks it up, man, everybody's going to say, what an idiot. Why didn't they start this guy? I mean, you know, fans, take a chill pill, enjoy the ride. But it's not that easy to project how it's going to happen.
I want to talk about my dear friend Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial. Of course, we're here each and every week, and she's a big part of what we do, and you really want a pro like her when you're talking about going out and getting a new mortgage. So if you're thinking about a new home, refinancing your current mortgage, or you haven't found a lender you can trust, let me tell you about Tony Freeman right here with Assurance Financial in Baton Rouge. Dear friend of mine, many of my friends have used her many times for their mortgages, and her knowledge of over 25 years of experience is unsurpassed. She offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products, whether you're a first-time home buyer, ready to buy a new home, or you just want to explore your refinance options. Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. Not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Call Tony today, 225-239-7150. Again, 225-239-7150, and tell her you heard about her right here on TigerBait.com. NMLS number 104765, Equal Housing Opportunity 70876. And we know what's happening with interest rates. We know what's happening in the market. Prices are going through the roof. But, buddy, you pulled up in my driveway to do the show tonight. I got 3 houses on the street for sale. People are still moving.
Yeah.
You know, so it's all relative. You're getting a crazy number for your house, but you're going to have to spend more on the one you're going into. So, but that's exactly why you need someone like Tony Freeman on your side. Give her a call. She's going to find you the best rate. And whether you're in Louisiana, Mississippi, surrounding area, Texas, she's licensed in multiple states. And she's going to get everything you need. She's going to get your closing on time. And she's just a pleasure to deal with.
$1 Million Smile makes you feel comfortable as soon as you sit down and talk with her. Really the consummate professional. You will hear their spots on the radio. And, of course, you know, a little admittance here. Football, you know, we watch every play. Basketball, basically every play. This baseball, Mike, they get so long in so many games. And at this point in the year, I'm wearing down a little bit. So sometimes I'll be in the middle of a two-era inning and they give up 5 runs. I'll say, you know, I might take a little ride or whatever. And you hear the games with Chris Blair and all the ads. But, man, let's give them credit. Jay Johnson and Jason Kelly, the pitching coach. And now Barry, it is something about this cloud. All of these injury attorneys that spend money. And you got corporate sponsors involved, and you got, of course, Gordon and everybody else. But LSU continues to play under this injury cloud. And it was with football, it was with basketball, now with Jacob Berry, the latest. You got Gavin Dugas.
What's the over and under on him?
Another week or two.
All right.
Depending on pain tolerance. But fire him in. Let's see what
Ant Marshall, what's up, guys? Those guys do a great podcast. Have you seen their show on Sunday nights? Ant, what's the name of the show?
Pooh Bear?
Yeah, Pooh Bear now.
Pod?
Yeah. Great. I love watching them.
I thought that
Bart
they were
Smokey
very
just said any news on Jacob Berry. We just gave that.
Yeah, he is. They showed him in the dugout last night. It hurts him more when he hits left-handed, and so he could DH or pinch hit right-handed. But we'll wait and see. What my guy told me, anywhere from a week or two.
Mark Jett with his cool corgi is his avatar. Says, what does it mean when a kid commits? They can bail anytime. Exactly. Mark's one of the good guys. He's all over the shows, and we appreciate him being with us pretty regular. There it is, the Golden Boot Podcast. Good evening, Mike and Buddy. And
that Pooh Bear, man, he is becoming more popular.
I'm a YouTube junkie. I'm devouring everything. I've even jumped in on a few of these Twitter spaces, and but I seem to be doing it at midnight. I don't even realize they're running that late.
Congratulations, Pooh Bear just picked up an NIL deal with Gummy Bears. So
oh yeah, there you go.
If you saw the show, you know what I'm talking about.
Bart Smokey says he's here in Tackett, has Ohio State at the top. Ant Marshall says he's probably going to USC. So and then here we got Brian Madeir. Hey guys, how long does Woody hang on to the Gran Torino? Man, I tell you what,
Brian's always timely. He's been mentioning this to you for about a month. You and I for about a month.
He's on Beth Torina.
Well,
and I got a few friends that are big softball folks, and I like to tweak them, and they're like, you lay off Beth, and we get a message today, Mike. What do you think about what's happening with what happened? I didn't realize that
they got beat.
Yeah,
by
they got beat Mississippi State again
in 9 innings.
Yeah, so I don't know. It seems like there's a faction of the softball fan base is getting a little restless.
Howard Dobson is the crucial part of that discussion. Most people wanted him to be replaced, and yet he's on the USA team as the hitting coach, and he's had other honors. But, like you were talking about offensive and defensive coordinators, he is the fall guy with the LSU softball fans. But look.
And I'm not saying that's the deal. You'd know better than me, okay?
Well, I'm just telling what I hear from people.
Okay.
That's the country.
But isn't that amazing how some coaches will derail their whole careers because of loyalty to one assistant?
Well, he's been good, but I think that unfortunately, when you get to OKC,
Cam Cameron.
Well, I don't want to compare anybody to Cam Cameron, but look, my point is that there are a lot more softball pundits that know the real scoop. But here's the deal: you get somewhere 10, 11, 12 years. You're going to hear it. Hey, coach.
And being
what have you done for me lately?
Were they a 6 seed or a 7 seed? What were they?
6.
Yeah, I mean, is that where you?
No, because you see, that was the other problem. They lost the final game at Mississippi State on the Sunday, and if they would have won that game, they would have been a 4 seed and had a bye. Because they lost the game, they fell to a 6 and played Mississippi State
again and lost.
And that is single elimination. They will get into the tournament. But I don't think you probably aren't going to be hosting this year.
Kyle Skeens Moore's actually trending to Oregon right now. I'm not hearing that. I know they offered, but I don't think that's happening.
Well, no, he did didn't he go? He went to Oregon after Baton Rouge, and let's be honest, man, Nike and all of that. And here's the thing that everybody's got to come to grips with. These kids are making decisions about where they go for different reasons than 2 years ago. Now,
there's even some scuttlebutt that Moore wants to go to the SEC because Nick Saban didn't extend him an offer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But you got to find the switch that is the main switch. And if it's this, guess what? USC is in the mix. The U in the mix with Miami. Georgia and Bama have been the best players in college football for the last 15 years. Texas A&M just became the sugar daddy. I don't know if you heard that, but they got the sugar daddy recruiting award for the millions they spent on NIL, and Jimbo didn't want to receive the award, but it costs more money to recruit now, and you've got to have sugar daddies, for no lack of a better term, and I still think only time will tell us if LSU is in the top 5 or if they're in the top 10.
Yep.
Oregon's going to be in the top 7 or 8 with NIL deals.
ML Chambers and the offensive trenches line will tell the story. The offensive line will tell the story. Edward O. Miles has to be the starter. He's the smartest of the 3. Short leash, though. There will be packages for Daniels. I know that's what a lot of people have been floating, or media people asking those questions. I know Ed Daniels fired off one of those to Brian Kelly late in spring, and it was brought up several times. Man, look at this. Esteban in the house. Go Tigers. Eric DeLion, from going to the games I went to and watched, if this team had 2 good pitchers, they would contend for a title, a national title.
Well, their bullpen has been very good, and I think he will. He's not going to gripe, even though Riley Cooper makes all of his fat guys feel good. He's been pretty darn reliable the last month or so. Paul Gervais has been electric. Eric Razelman. I mean, come on, Mike. When's the last time you had a guy coming in consistently throwing 96, 97, 98? Fontenot has been off and on and hadn't had as much work. Wittenmeyer either. Of course, Jacob Hasty now has come in and given them 3 innings at a shot. So, but from the starting pitching to see where LSU is, this has been a hell of a job by Jason Kelly, the pitching coach, and Jay Johnson.
Blake Ruffino says, I'm only here for Buddy.
Well, Blake, I actually saw that Blake did a little Saints.
Okay, now he did follow it up with "I love you, Mike," but because I almost didn't see that, and I was about to hammer him. I saw him wearing some Crocs with Chris Hilton last week.
I saw him and his wife putting pictures out with the Garth Brooks. And Mike, that's one thing I always like to mention and ask the questions. 2 questions for the Tiger fan base tonight. A, do you think LSU is going to be preseason in the top 20 or top 25? Let's say top 25. And B, the more important question, are you going to renew season tickets and go back and make Tiger Stadium? I don't think you can make it the way Garth Brooks did, because I have yet to find one person that saw an empty seat. And they also got him to stay to the end. But seriously speaking, preseason, where you like them, you and I talk 18 to 20, and that stadium, is this, because you got Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Alabama. No disrespect to Mississippi State or whoever's coming in early, but man, Tennessee, the way they talking, that's going to be a smackdown. And Ole Miss, I'm seeing people picking very high, and of course, Bama, as you know, is buying everything under the sun. You'd think Miss Terry has been on a shopping spree the way Nick Saban's been picking up players from everybody, but
well.
You know the deal.
Aunt Marshall says Beth Torina is the one coach that Woodward didn't bring in. She could be out soon.
Well,
we'll see.
I don't know the politics of that. Do you?
No, I don't.
But he is right.
She runs
and is right with that. I mean, I was going to say that, but look, we saw that actually was a part of the Will Wade equation.
Yeah, I mean, what does Stephanie think? It's not just Stephanie Rempe's a big part of that hierarchy, and
sure.
How's that all play out?
She's running this thing.
But of course, we're, like I said earlier in the show, we're here each and every week thanks to the fine folks at Pride Roofing. Let's go ahead and hear from Mike and Alex right now.
Hi, I'm Michael with Pride Roofing.
I'm Alex.
Were you affected by Hurricane Ida?
Insurance claim, no problem.
Are you concerned about the shortage of building materials?
We have what you need.
We're licensed residential and commercial contractors.
In Louisiana and Mississippi.
We install shingles, metal, and commercial roofing. From Baton Rouge to Slidell or Houma up to the North Shore.
We got you covered. Call Pride, 855-PRIDE-16.
Pride Roofing, the official roofer of TigerBait.com.
There they are, Mike and Alex, and of course, right there in Albany, Louisiana. Go stop by them. You probably see them right there on Florida Boulevard. Of course, they bought Crown right across the street. And whether you're commercial or residential, they're absolutely who you want to deal with for your roof. A lot of roofing companies out there. You can't listen to a sports talk show or ride around town without seeing a roofing company truck, and there's a lot of them out there, and we get it. But I'm telling you, you want to give Pride a chance to earn your business, and the testimonies that we're getting from the TigerBait subscribers and the TigerBait viewers of this show that have used them have been through the roof. And they're price match. They're not going to use any subpar ingredients on your roof, no builder quality components. And they do a lot of it in-house, and they go the extra mile for you. So whether you're anywhere in South Louisiana, Mississippi, they've got you covered. Call Pride Roofing, 855-PRIDE-16.
And let me tell you, folks, as we know, as we get into these consistent 90-degree temps, it is hot on when you get up there. And I had a couple of people call Mike Kirby. Once again, he's our new sales rep in Baton Rouge. You can call us on the 275-2041. Miss Tammy or Miss Yesty, of course, 985-PRIDE-16. And they have a little extra time. I kind of like it. Now, traffic was still crazy, folks. It took me a little longer to get over here because it's light till 8 o'clock, basically, and everybody's still out and about. But it gives them another hour or two, and they are just doing a fantastic job. But with that acquisition of Crown Metals, it has really changed their business and changed this whole landscape. Trust me, you're going to like them, you're going to appreciate them, and you're going to be proud of the job that they do when you call them.
You know you're dealing with a legit company when you've got a full yard full of shingles. You're not waiting 2 or 3 months. They are constantly keeping their yard stocked, so you're not waiting. If you need a roof, there's none of this. We've got to order your roof. Now, look, if you want something special or unique, and you're going through swatches and picking the right shade of this and that for your roof, yeah, I guess that can happen. But for the most part, they know what the tried and true and the colors that people want, the most common, and they constantly keep their yard full. Usually 150 to 200 homes worth of shingles behind that big fence right there in Albany, Louisiana. They make all their own flashing. So they're the best of the best, I guarantee.
Yeah, we've had a Paul from Mandeville, another guy from Reserve in the New Orleans area. They've got great people, and they basically are throughout southeast Louisiana, folks, in Louisiana, Mississippi, Mobile. I mean, trust me, give them an opportunity. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. And people love doing business with people who they like.
Here's one for you, a good one. Brian Madeir, Vegas over and under for college football is out. LSU is listing at 6.5 wins. Your take? I'm taking the over.
I thought I saw 7. So I don't. Everybody's got an opinion. Look, I have proved to myself. I don't know if you ever gambled, but I can't make money betting on football games, and I learned that a long time ago. So I don't. But man, oh man, if that would be 6.5. I would take some of that Scarborough money, and put that's way low.
Look,
I think LSU is it ought to be something like 7.5. 7 is under, 8 is over.
I think 7. I think 7's fair. If you look, as bad as things got the last 2 years, and you know that the roster it was not deep. You know they're had to patch holes, go to the portal. I get it. Unless there is a rash of injuries, multiple injuries at key areas, I just tend to think 7 is the low mark.
Yeah.
Now, if they hit the 6 and 6, then something they had some bad luck in my mind. I think 8 is the high end, and I think 7 is the sweet spot.
Well, they had a South Carolina site that had picked them 5 and 7, had them 1 and 7 in the conference, and of course everybody's thrown out your baby boomer sooner. By the way, in case you missed it,
dude, if they get to 9 and 3, something crazy like 9 and 3, and I know you're gonna be fans here saying 9 and 3, that's not correct. But if they get to 9 and 3, he's coach of the year. I'm telling you.
Well, Alabama is going to be preseason #1 and have every reason to be. Ole Miss is going to be really good, even though they lost Matt Corral as their quarterback. You know Kiffin, he's going to be good. Tennessee is on the rise. Texas A&M has all those incoming freshmen coming in. Now, how good will they be at quarterback? And is Jimbo going to relinquish those play calling duties? If he doesn't, then I don't think they're going to do more than 9 or 10. But really,
Can this season
and Arkansas is another team that's going up.
can
So-
this season mirror Saban's 2000 season?
I want to say that was 8-4, huh? Yeah. Well, look,
Coming in, what did he inherit from DiNardo? Same
Yeah.
deal where you had a lot of talent, but then you had to hide some things where you
Sure.
weren't as deep. You didn't have, but you still had a lot of NFL guys there, but not across the board. I think that could be a similar transition.
But the difference, Mike, is that the SEC West, I think, is appreciably better right now. I mean, look, Ole Miss is pretty damn good. So is Arkansas. So is Texas A&M. And Auburn is the crazy. You can't figure them out.
I saw your guy the other night.
Yeah,
Your
Tex
Auburn
Mars.
mate.
Good to see Tex. By the way, I got to give a shout out to my buddy real quick. Michael Scott Scurrier. Grew up playing golf with Scotch. Him and I played in a lot of tournaments. He'd read the greens for me and all of our years. But he won the Super Senior with the Louisiana Golf Association this past weekend up in Monroe. Shot 70 the first day and 72. So Scotch, glad to see you. You brought it home. And look, I'm playing a little more golf, but man, it is hot. So all you guys out there, remember, stay hydrated. Those gin and tonics, they dehydrate you a little bit. But Mike, I was counting it down today, just kind of on the fingers real quick. We're talking about 12 weeks before LSU reports. I mean, we're looking at the first week in August. You start to get these camps, and June 6th, 7th or something that week?
First week.
It is going to be around the corner. We want everybody to go to the beach, go on vacation, represent Louisiana the right way, and be cautiously optimistic, but we still are waiting. I still want to see who's coming in and who's leaving via the transfer portal. And I would expect we get news on that in the next, couple of weeks?
I think I'm gonna go ahead and cash in on one of them destined vacations you were promising me about 15 years ago.
I wish I still...
Can I still get that from you?
Hey, I wish I had those. That was Pelican Beach Resort. It's funny. I talked to Dan Martin. Folks, if you haven't priced the beach...
And what is the price of that now?
Oh, you talk about
The
crazy.
gas to get there.
Hey, we didn't even mention Florida. What's Billy Napier going to be? So really, if you think about it...
And by the way, Bill Napier's trying to get it on Dante Moore. That's something else I talked to with my guy today.
Yeah.
I believe that's LSU Notre Dame.
Yeah. But my point is that you've got those games, and Brian Lazar does as good a job as anybody on this site with that. He'll talk about those games that, 4 or 5 games every year that you can go up or down. And you were mentioning 9-3 is the apex and 7-5, but I don't think 6.5 is going to be a win total. If it is, I'm going to put a C note on that one.
But you could probably see from afar if you're Vegas that you would look at that 6.5, and that would be from where they're sitting. That's probably based on what's happened in the last few years. The numbers on the roster.
Let me ask you something. Did LSU just have more players go in the draft than Alabama this year? 10-7. Now that's not going to happen this year.
I'm taking the over.
No, I know, but I'm just saying.
Are you? Where are you at right now? Are you leaning 7-5? Or are you leaning 8-4?
Well, I don't know a number, but I would be very disappointed if LSU's 6.5. Because not disappointed, but I'd say no.
What do you think's the average of the LSU fans? It's going to be 8-4.
Yeah, I think 8-4, and by the time you get to August, it'd be
9-3. Yeah.
But that's the beautiful thing about LSU fan. Oh, by the way, one other tidbit, Mike. How cool is this going to be when LSU and Southern get together in the first home game of the year? And I really hope, listen, there's a lot of us who've been around Baton Rouge. You say, I want to go to Florida, I want to go to Texas, whatever, I want to leave. But we can't leave because, we lived here. But how cool is that going to be, and how much of a positive is that going to be for the city of Baton Rouge when the Jags come into Tiger Stadium? I can't look. I'm not talking.
I'm looking forward to that.
I just think it ought to be about.
Don't
2
leave.
weeks.
Don't leave your seats at halftime.
Yeah, no doubt.
Jay Chillen, I heard Jay Nosberry trending to Notre Dame too. I know both him and Austin loved their visit to Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's definitely in the mix there.
What did we say? This is the irony of all ironies. You've got a first-year head coach in Notre Dame that was interviewing for the defensive coordinator in Baton Rouge. He's the head coach at Notre Dame. You got the head coach over at Notre Dame here at LSU. They were battling, LSU and Notre Dame battling on the recruiting front a lot more, Mike, than I've remembered in the past.
Remember Kyle Kipps?
Yeah.
Remember what happened to his dad when he didn't sign with the Cajuns?
Yeah.
Went to LSU. Got Nelson Stokely fired him.
Mm-hmm.
Is Verge Alsbury going to have two of his kids leave LSU with offers, go out of state?
I'm
not going to say anything's going to happen to Verge, but I mean, you know.
I think NIL money will be a part of the Dayton Alsbury decision. And oh, by the way,
I see Verge and I kid him. And I'm like, man, if Jaden goes out of state, I'm gonna pin it on you. And he goes, that's okay, you know, like. But I do believe Verge when he says, I'm letting those kids make a decision on their own. I believe that. I think he absolutely has been hands off, and so. You know, I don't know what those kids see or what they're looking at or why they want to go and make a name for themselves somewhere else. I do know that maybe they have looked at. I do believe that maybe they were also looking at other staffers who had kids on the roster, you know, and it didn't work out and not wanting that scrutiny. So. I think there's a lot of different little components to the whole thing.
I'll give you a perfect quick example. Dylan Moses comes back. Jacques had him on. He did a camp for the high school kids at Memorial Stadium. Got 150, 200 players, kids over here.
Oh, Jacques got hate mail over that.
And see, this is what I'm talking about, though. The fact that kid played at Alabama, Jaden Alsbury, Austin Alsbury, you can go play. Warwick Dunn can tell you, Travis Minor can tell you. But when you do go to an out-of-state, especially some for you, good luck, but you're not going to get reception when you come back home. And I'm sure I had 2 or 3 people text me, "What's the interview?" and that, and he had.
And I think Keelan Moses, his younger brother, that's got an offer from LSU. I think that might be a whole different deal.
Well,
and I think he's probably got a different song to sing now that he went to Alabama, and. That's going to be a whole different recruiting process, I believe.
But you're treated differently if you leave the state.
Right.
But what we have going on, and you living there and being right on that campus, I can understand them going down a different highway. I really can.
Eric DeLion, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, I appreciate your show, Mike. Old school, no nonsense with a few jokes from Buddy. Sports talk will always be the best to me. Old school sports talk. Thank you, Eric. Thanks for the kind words in the super chat. Absolutely. Here's another one. Vegas early opening line, Gators 3.5 favorite over LSU. Well, they got LSU in the swamp. Both first-year head coaches. We'll see.
You have friends in Lafayette. I have friends in Lafayette, and they posed the question to me, who would be a winner in the SEC first, Billy Napier or Brian Kelly? Of course, the people that are Raging Cajun fans and are in Lafayette are naturally going to pick Billy Napier. And the people here.
I mean,
I don't know. I mean, look, I wish we could tell the future.
Other than Zook, I mean, Florida really has not had bad coaches. Why have they all failed except for Urban Meyer?
Because they don't recruit as elite as they should. Now, I know Miami's in the state. See, that's the advantage of Louisiana and LSU. But Miami and Florida State and Florida. But look at Dan Mullen. How many times did he get 5 stars? He got more 3 and 4 stars. Napier didn't get that many 5 stars. If he recruits and gets all that talent in the state, then obviously. But, you know, ULL.
They are recruiting a whole lot different than they've done. I mean, I don't know, you know, certainly they've got the relationship. Like everybody says, why is LSU recruiting so much out of state? Well, the assistant coaches are recruiting the board that they had at their previous locations. Then they're adding in Louisiana. Napier's staff, you got a lot of Louisiana flavor on that. They're recruiting Louisiana because of the relationships they have here. But after a while, when the dust settles, everybody's going to revert back to the normal geography of where the school is typically recruited. But I do think Napier is going to have a different national perspective in recruiting than it's going to go back. It's going to go back to Urban Meyer. But I do think, you know, but they come in Louisiana? Did Urban Meyer ever get anybody in Louisiana?
No.
No.
Not
You'd have to go back to a Hilliard before that.
Yeah.
You know, and when
Well,
was,
look, that's the interesting thing about
and by the
it.
way, speaking of that, when was the last? Isn't Patterson due? When was the last time I covered a kid from Patterson? What's going on at Patterson High School?
Well, you're the recruiting guy. I mean, hey, look, I look forward to those interviews and all that film and that video. And one other tidbit. I'm giving a lot of tidbits because it's summertime. But Doug Oquin won the video award for LSU. He's been out at LSU for God knows ages. And what a super nice guy. I know Brian Kelly and everybody gave him a shout out, but congratulations to him. He's one of the best.
Everybody says nice things about him. I think I maybe met him once. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm wrong, but everybody speaks very
Congratulations,
highly
Doug.
of him.
Well deserved, my man.
Let me scroll through. Guys, if you're enjoying the show, please do me a favor. Hit the like button and share it to your Facebook page. But really, you really help us with the algorithm, both on YouTube and Facebook. We stream live on both. And, of course, once the show's over, please go to TigerBait and subscribe. I really want to have you as a part of our TigerBait community. We've got a growing community on our message board, and it's really going to kick into gear in the coming weeks. We're going to be hitting spring games. A lot of spring games get underway within a week or two. So we're going to have a lot of recruiting stuff there. I talked to Preston early today. We've got 4 recruiting updates coming your way in the next 24 to 36 hours. And so we want to have you as a subscriber to TigerBait. And like I always say, choose the annual package. It's less expensive. You're essentially getting 3 months free when you choose TigerBait annual versus TigerBait monthly. And you only get billed once a year. You're going to get our newsletters, our text alerts for breaking news, our baseball, football, basketball, women's basketball, recruiting in both all the sports. And so, and we're going to be expanding everything we're doing here in the coming months as we gear up for the first year of the Brian Kelly era here in Baton Rouge.
Do you think he is getting a little bit better feel of the heat and humidity? Now, look, folks.
Yeah, I don't know.
It hadn't got to 95 with that 92% humidity and getting ready to rain. It's so hot, and you go out and cut the grass and you lose 3 pounds of water weight, and you, but still, pretty consistent 90s. This is the other thing, Mike.
But he says, you know, the snow, he's getting rid of the snow. But
He's getting acclimated to that, and if he's cutting his grass and doing some things outside, he'll be able to eat the cuisine. But what I was going to say is the two things is that football field, did they do the right thing in protecting it, and is it going to be a fast track and not the...
that Garth Brooks concert and that big thing has just got you all...
I
You're
wanna
worried
see
about that
LSU,
field.
I want to see LSU have one of the better fields.
That's a good guess for you to get for your show. What's the field guy?
Well, they changed a couple times. But the second thing, Mike, that's the most important thing tonight. What are these guys right now? Everybody's talking about, hey, we're all in. Everybody's accountable. Who are the leaders going to emerge that get the guys to meet up and the levee and the tire work and the stadium and running and all that other stuff? It's sappy. And how many times we've heard it on all the interviews? It's not just your position coach or the head coach. Everybody's keeping everybody accountable. And of course, how quickly will you get the stars? The John Emery's, the Keyshawn Bouttes, will those guys all heal up? Garrett Dellinger, Marlon Martinez, I mean, on and on and on with the injuries. Can you get back healthy? And if you get that with the incoming guys coming in, you got another 20 players to add to what we saw in the spring. It's going to be a fun ride.
Yeah, it's going to be here before you know it. And we've had, TAF tour stops at various spots. And like we talked about today, those really weren't promoted real big. But then when you step back, you realize the reason why they weren't promoted is because they're being held in restaurants with limited seating capacity. I've talked to several people in various areas of the state where they've had them, and like, I didn't even know it was happening. And these are TAF guys, that weren't getting. But when you asked if Brian Kelly is, getting used to it, I don't. We're going to see. The weather's still going to hit him, but do I think he's adjusted well to Louisiana? I think he's loving it. I think he's adjusted to it. I think he's adjusting to everything that's come his way perfectly.
Well, I have really appreciated. I remember when you were griping on one of these shows, and you said, "Damn it!" Of course, Hannah Griff as well, And you know, for a couple of weeks, Kelly would let the media just.
Oh, I flew off the handle day one because I had my mind. I had my mind the whole time because you remember leading up to him getting hired. I'm like, okay, if they get him in on this date, you know, you still got 2 weeks until signing day. And so I'm thinking in my mind, you know, the DiNardo going to visit Falk right after the press conference. I had in my mind he was going to go immediately, you know, instead he did 2 days of radio shows. Walker Howard and them didn't hear from him for a week. And it's like, then after he got introduced, we didn't have him for what, 6 weeks, 2 months?
There's a method to the madness.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, everybody's just got to step back. This guy's got a plan. He's not gonna alter it for you. He's not gonna alter it for the media. You know, but as a media guy, it wasn't just us being selfish. I think everybody, you know, wanted to hear how things were going and wanted to, But when we got the spring schedule and we got all the assistant coaches, and I still, you know, I'm still ringing the praises of the access that he gave us. He has been absolutely fantastic, and
I think the fans appreciate that.
Yeah,
too.
and don't kid yourself. A coach that gives the media that kind of access, that goes a long way when bad things start to happen.
Well, look, in this socially media-driven world,
Not saying bad things are
in,
going to happen, but
yeah.
you know.
Well, hey, listen, come on, you know the deal. Maneri and D.D. Bro have been on this tour with the coaches.
That's why Maneri didn't have many detractors for so many years. Nobody was better with the media than Paul Maneri. Answers every call, calls you back. Oh, I'm sorry. Every guy in the media that dealt with Maneri said if he would call you back and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late getting to you." You know, you just called him 10 minutes earlier. I mean, so that's why he got that. You know, that's why he didn't get all the scrutiny that, you know, some of the guys who were calling for his head 3 and 4 years before. Some even earlier than that.
It's hard to keep a fan base happy more than 10 years. After a decade, man, they know all of your personality traits, and they know how you recruit, know how you handle the public, the fans, the media. But it is going to be interesting, Mike, to see if you can bring in, and this is we getting back to the 6.5 or 7 total. I was looking at some tape. Kayshon Boutte, you don't realize he had a hell of a year last year. I mean, he was phenomenal before he got hurt. Jeray Jenkins, you talk about the receivers, the running backs. I think.
But Boutte is a number one guy.
Well, but I'm saying, so there's some talent. The question.
The problem is when he fell off, there was no number one.
Well, no,
I think there was a lot of threes in my mind. Was there even barely a 2? You know, so you're trying to make a bunch of threes and maybe borderline 2 guys. You're number one.
Well, but my point is that they had 10 guys drafted. Alabama had 7. They were second behind Georgia. So there's been talent. Now, though, you've had to piecemeal this thing. Can you believe what LSU has done? The secondary is completely different other than Jay Ward. Mike Jones Jr. and Greg Penn III didn't start at linebacker last year inside. We know that the defensive front is obviously all-season veterans, and they're really good. But look at the offensive line. Will Campbell, Tremont Shorts, you got a new center, you got a new right guard, and you may have a guy, Cam Wire, who's so you got basically a whole new offensive line. My point is that this is going to be fun to watch, the quarterback battle, but all the other battles, and
that's the key too. Let's say it is 7-5. I think that 7-5 is going to be different than a lot of other people's 7-5s because you're going to see the discipline, you're going to see what's getting built, you're going to see what's coming in the recruiting class, you're going to see, you know, just the attention to detail, and you're going to know, just like when you're watching Jay Johnson right now, it's going to be the same thing where you're like, okay, wait till he gets his guys, wait till he fixes that, and you're going to see the process of it getting built, and that to me you can enjoy that just as much as anything else.
Well, I don't think anybody,
because I get into that, I get into the minutia. I like seeing that, and that's why. You know, and I know it sounds like I'm taking a shot at Miles and Orgeron, but as a guy who's covered them all, when you went to a Nick Saban press conference, you listen to every word, and Brian Kelly's the same way.
He definitely, and look, people got mad at us because we called him professional. It's nice to hear him so structured, so poised, and so nonchalant about just telling us what's actually going on. But what I was going to say is I still think there's so much work in progress. It's just hard to put a number. I'll say this, though. 6.5, I would definitely go over that. And I don't know if that. I think 7.5 is more. 7.5 is more number. But they are like only a 3.5, 4-point favorite over Florida State.
And by the way, to go 7-5, buddy, when you start listening to Ole Miss and Arkansas, how many of those games are going to be field goal or very tight?
Absolutely.
I mean, there's so many games there where they can go either way, and then you're hedging your bets because LSU's got to go to A&M, to Florida, to Auburn. You get Tennessee in Sunday at Florida State. Do we have a kickoff time on that yet?
No, not yet.
I'm
No
sure it's
network
gonna-
yet,
I'm
but
sure that'll be a
It will be
7.
one of the marquee games that day. And so, look, we're chewing the fat, but it is going to be
You
interesting.
say, is there any chance that's a day game?
You never know. The TV's going to dictate it. The hotels would love it if it's a 6:30 start because you got to spend the night.
I think they're going to want. I think they're going to want that to be an evening in New Orleans.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I thought that was the only game on the Sunday though.
Generally speaking, it's the highlight. I'd say
Then that'll be
6:30.
that's an evening game then.
Yeah, you'd hope that.
Yeah,
But,
I've heard nothing but night. So
And once again, can he get that crowd? I keep saying this, but I'm big about this. And you mentioned Nick Saban, and we mentioned it last time on this show. In 2000, his first year, they had 2 overtime victories as underdogs over
Mississippi State,
Tennessee, Mississippi State, and both times the frickin' goalpost came down. Mm-hmm. Now, you've moved on from those days,
I think this season can mirror that one.
but that's going to be incredibly.
And it's unique that Tennessee's on the schedule as well.
No kidding, huh? By the way, Tennessee does have an excellent quarterback, but man, those Tennessee fans right now, if you go to the beach,
They're nuts.
they are going to be kicking up sand on that purple and gold
Get their asses kicked.
beach towel, and you tell them, come to Baton Rouge, and I'll show you what moonshine tastes like. Mm-hmm. They're believing. They're all in right now. And you know what? That's a great part. Why I love college athletics and football a little bit more. Not that it's got more loyalty than the NFL, because both of them are leaving a lot to be desired. But now we talked about pay for play and NIL and all that. Let's just hope that we get some kind of semblance of slowing down and this, we talked about it a little bit. This NCAA coming out saying the NIL, we gonna make this retroactive. I mean, was that the biggest joke ever? They're not going to punish anybody, folks. What's out of the barn is too late. But I do think we need to curb a little bit of the direction it's headed, don't you?
Yeah, and I still think that, now that Emmert's retiring and
Yeah.
I've thought all along though that the most powerful guy in college football is Sankey, and it's gonna and you start talking about doing retroactive and all that kind of stuff. That's when you're going to get a guy like Sankey who's going to, and I think he probably needs to do it, and he probably is behind the scenes, but he's the most powerful man in college football, and he needs to throw his weight around. So, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Go to TigerBait, subscribe. Thanks for everybody participating in the show. We'll be back here next week, and we'll see you on the other side. Thanks again.